publishers really meet your business goals and help you to shine, to showcase the incredible work that we're doing in the publisher space. So really the first thing I want to say is that there are 11 categories that are perfectly tailored for you with some exciting updates. I'm going to go through them. But if you've got any specific questions, we'll take them later. So the first one is the one that I know that we're all very interested in every year, and that is the Publisher Site's Mass Appeal Award. And it really goes to any publishing site that is disseminating information. It needn't be pure news information. It just needs to come from a publisher environment. So think lifestyle, think health, think wellness, news. It can be anything from politics to parenting. And really what we want to show here is that you're shaping a national conversation, or even a regional conversation, but at scale, and that you have engaged news storytelling techniques to do that. So that's the Publisher Site's Mass Appeal category. But if you are a niche publisher or you have a niche publication within your Mass Appeal site, don't fret, because our next category is specifically for you. So here we're talking about custom publishing or a niche appeal category. And if maybe you don't have a national audience or a regional audience at scale, but you are speaking to a very specific targeted audience in their language, in a way that they want to be interacted with, then this is the category for you. So here, and what's very exciting about this is that we're looking for non-commercial, or what we would call editorial content, or we're looking for commercial niche publishing in this category too. And it can be for a specific audience or for a specific theme or event. So here, for instance, you might want to consider something like News24's 24 Mag or Business Day TV. I know that your luxury team are also quite interested in the awards this year. This is potentially where you would come in, where you're speaking to a very specific audience. The next category doesn't need much explanation. It has to do with email newsletters and marketing. So basically, how are you taking your excellent storytelling? Because I know that everybody in the room today is invested in trustworthy, useful, relevant storytelling. How are you taking that storytelling and distributing it either through marketing or newsletters? This is the category for you. Right, so that's 3 of 11. Number 4, social media content and campaign really speaks for itself. But I think that we have seen such great progress even in the last 12 months on how publishers are interacting with their audiences on social networks. And so this is the category for you, whether it's TikTok or Instagram. If you're telling stories in a different way, you're using the platform to reach your audience, consider entering social media content and campaigns category. The next one's very interesting, and it's got to do with data strategy, content, and campaigns. So here what we're looking at is specifically visual representation of the story that you're telling. So here it could be data journalism. I know around election times, for example, we were all sitting on just an absolute treasure trove of statistics, projections, voter registration data, coupled with how many people actually went to the polls. We were all running our predictions if you're in the news environment. This is the category where you're going to show what you did with that data and how you made it, again, useful and relevant for your readers. You know, it could be editorial, but if you've got something commercial here, we would consider that too. We want to go under the hood of your beautiful data stories. Show us your dashboards. Did you build it yourself, or did you use a dashboard that already existed to get the information that you needed? How did you get the information? How did you take big, complex data sets and distill it into something that is relevant to your reader? This is the category for you. Here, a great example here is from the Daily Maverick. A previous entry, Daily Maverick turns data into revenue with the Google News Initiative. So it's all of this incredible editorial data that they leveraged commercially. This is the category that you want to enter that type of content into. Video content and campaigns speaks for itself. And there are so many ways that you can do this. It can be short video, it can be long format documentaries, it can be sort of vertical video that's produced on the ground by your journalist. It could be beautiful marketing video that you've created. Really, any way that you are using video to show or to tell a story is this category. And then again, live content. Here we want to see how you're covering a live news event or a live lifestyle event, how you're going live to your audience, essentially. So, you know, from a news environment, it might be something, for example, like elections, but in a lifestyle environment, you might have had opportunities to go live and have one-on-one interactions in real time with your users. Think about any opportunity that you've had in the last year to speak to your users one-on-one in a live environment. This is your category. Okay, finally, categories 8 to 11, audio content, podcasts, and campaigns. Again, it's quite easy here. You're really looking at similar to video, but this time it's audio. For my broadcast colleagues in the room, this is really where you're going to shine. Of course, you're able to enter, and you should enter other categories. But here we want to know how you have shaped South Africa's listening habits and how you've been innovative in this space. And then speaking of innovation, I know that all of us in this room are being tasked with being more innovative, with incorporating AI into our work streams, and really kind of pushing the boundaries of what is possible in telling stories digitally. So this is your category. If you've done something extraordinary, like you've used AI for text to speech, or perhaps you have used a tool to tell stories in a different language. If you have done anything in sort of the VR space, AR space, if you're using machine learning or personalization, whatever it is, consider entering the publisher innovation category. And I just want to pause here and really encourage you to look at your body of work over the last 12 months. I think what often happens in our space is that we go from one story to the next. The news cycle or the entertainment cycle is unrelenting. And we sometimes forget about the truly extraordinary work that we've done. And we can sometimes forget that we've been hell of a innovative in our different spheres. So sometimes it helps when it comes to bookmarks to use it as an opportunity for reflection. Look at your calendar, take a step back, and really acknowledge the incredible innovative work that you've done. Sometimes you might have done something out of necessity, like, oh, hell, we need to quickly create a text-to-speech function. Let's use AI to do it. And you don't think that you've been particularly innovative, but I'm here to tell you that that is extraordinary. It's very innovative, and please enter it. So reflect and enter in that category. Publisher brand building campaigns is a really nice opportunity for you to look at work that you've done to really build your publisher brand during the entry period. So this is specifically for any digital campaign that's designed or developed to promote your digital brands. So it could be PR, live event, online engagement initiatives. It could be a competition. It could involve UGC, whatever it is. Consider entering it here. You know, it might be an editorial campaign. It might be a campaign where you've worked hand in hand with your marketing team, your subscriptions team, your commercial team. I think we've all been hard at work over the last 12 months, building our brands and sort of solidifying our place in the market. So this is the place that you want to do that. And finally, the thing that keeps us up at night, the area where we've all made great strides in the last year, it's publisher monetization. And here, I think South African publishers we just have such a broad set of skills here, and we're all doing it so differently. And again, like in the innovation category, I really want to encourage you to reflect and think about what you've done and enter, because I promise you that the way we are creating sustainable revenue streams to fund our organizations, our newsrooms, our teams of content creators, and technical staff is really extraordinary. So You could have had an extraordinary relationship with an advertiser or partner or a sponsor that you've built, that you've grown, and that you've used cleverly. You could have a reader or user-generated revenue initiative, whether it is a paywall, subscriber events, short courses. You could even have an e-commerce execution. I know that our colleagues at Daily Maverick have a fab shop. You could be creating digital products, you could be creating digital courses, whatever it is in your publisher environment that has led you to revenue generation, this is your category. So what I love about this category, like I say, is it's so broad. Paywalls, memberships, sponsorships, native advertising can be included in this category, and new advertising formats. Perhaps you've pioneered a rich media innovation. We know that we have sadly said goodbye to many of our legacy print brands over the last year. That also means that the people in this room have been working their asses off to migrate that former print revenue into a digital revenue environment. What have you done to help your advertisers to hold their hand and transition them into 2025? How have you helped them to make that revenue digital? This is the category for you. So those are the 11 categories, but we have gone a step further here. We've not just tweaked the specific categories to make it useful to you, but what we've done is that we've updated the criteria, because we know that publishers are not agency and they're not brands. We have very, very specific goals. And we have a very specific way of doing things. So what we've done is we've ensured the way that you're going to be judged reflects the way that we work. And this is how we've done it. Now, 40% of the criteria for your entries, 40% of the way that they're going to be judged is going to be based purely on storytelling excellence. Because ultimately, as publishers, we are in the business of telling stories. We're in the business of making South African stories shine. And so really what we want to do is ensure that you are being rewarded for incredible, beautiful, touching, heartwarming, or even sometimes just nation building or nation shaping stories. So storytelling excellence is really going to be the crux of the way that you're judged. Then, of course, this wouldn't be the Bookmark Awards if we weren't looking at innovation and technical accomplishment. So we want to see how you've told those beautiful stories, exactly the tools that you've used, the way that you've distributed it, and the way that you've used your tech stack, your audience, your social media tools, whatever it is, to take those stories and to put them in the hands of your reader. Otherwise, you know, a great story that nobody reads is kind of useless. So we want to know how you took that excellent storytelling, you innovated, and you distributed it. So innovation and technical accomplishment is going to be 30% of that. And then we have really tweaked our results aspect of the criteria to ensure that when you are showing us your results, we are judging them correctly, because we know for publishers, meeting or exceeding audience growth is a huge part of our KPIs. That's what we want to do. We want to build our audiences. We want to ensure that we are speaking to new people and that we are attracting more and more people to our publisher platforms. And we also know that audience growth has to be met with sustainable revenue. So we also want to see that you are meeting your revenue goals, whether that is advertiser revenue, whether it's reader revenue, or even, like I said earlier, whether you have a completely different way of generating sustainable revenue for your publisher platform. We want to hear about it. So that is how this stacks up. And I also wanted to take some time to explain why. Why does this matter? Why have we spent all this time trying to tweak our publisher categories and criteria? I mean, to what end? Well, this is why. I really believe it matters that we celebrate publishers and we help publishers shine in a way that makes sense. The reason really is because, as you can see here, studies from the Oxford Reuters Institute for the Study of Journalism shows that over time, from 2019 to 2024, trust in publisher environments is growing steadily. So in 2019, we scored about a 49% trust score. It doesn't mean that only 49% of the country trusted publishers. You can go and have a look at that methodology. And you would think, I guess, sort of like, you know, common sense, my common sense might have told you that, well, social media is such a big part of everybody's lives, young people not necessarily interacting with publisher environments, so our trust might be declining. But nothing could be further from the truth. In an era where social media is just so ubiquitous and where we have had elections the world over, we don't know what is happening with the GNU. We don't know what is happening with, you know, what can we believe about health or wellness or the celebrities that we follow, the influencers that we're interested in. We can see that over time, over these last couple of years, people are coming to Publisher's site because they trust us. And I think it's so important for us to ensure that when we are awarding publisher awards, that we are really rewarding the trust that our audiences put in us. We also want to support publishers to thrive. We know that we can't continue to create our excellent stories on vibes and goodwill, right? We need to pay our content creators, we need to pay our journalists, we need to pay our staff. And we find ourselves in a really tricky space, right? Because the latest IAB PwC Internet Advertising report from last year shows that of the big pool of internet advertising in South Africa, 3% of that advertising comes to publishers, which is kind of terrifying. So we have a sort of small pool that we're playing in to try and sustain our publisher environments. But we want to support you with these awards to show values that we can grow that, right? I think we can be very proud to say, and we don't have to be ashamed, that as publishers, we believe we deserve more than 3% of that advertising pool. And we want to grow the publisher environment, and we want to ensure that you have the gravitas, i.e., a bookmark award or 2 or 3 or 5 in your back pocket, so that when you are speaking to your sponsors, your partners, your advertisers, you have that gravitas to make that business case. And then finally, and most importantly, we're ensuring that the publisher jury fully understands your world. I know that sometimes as a publisher, you might feel that when we are entering awards, we're sometimes in an environment with many people from agency, many people from brands. Do they really understand our world? Well, I'm here today to tell you that we're ensuring that they do understand your world. We are in the process of putting together those juries. Publishers will be largely represented, or they'll be properly represented. We have a large publisher contingent, and we're going to ensure that the work that you do is understood first by the jury so that you can be awarded accordingly. Now I'm going to show you a case study because I think it helps for us just to have a look at work that has won in the past. This work comes from the Real Network, so a publisher environment that really has podcast and video content. It's completely digital and a first of its kind. I believe it was a winner in the innovation category. So let's have a look at a video and see how they presented themselves last year. This is such a cool entry. Are you starting again? Sorry about that. Such a cool entry because it really, really touches on those three things that we spoke about earlier. It shows the beautiful stories that the team are telling, through podcast and video format. It really shows how technically excellent they are and really innovative, a total first to market type of approach to digital storytelling. But then it also gave us the results, right? It showed us the audience growth. It showed us some of the partners. You saw Auto Trader towards the end there. So really hitting the mark on all of those three criteria. And I think that as you are crafting your own entry, keep the criteria, I was going to say at the back of your mind, but not even at the back of your mind, front of mind, like stick it on a post-it somewhere so that you can keep referring back to it. Sometimes we can get quite bogged down in our own publisher world, and we think that everybody knows what we know. I can say personally from a news environment, I automatically assume that everybody understands the intricacy of what we were doing. The reality is that we're all from different worlds. Just like I don't know everything, our judges don't necessarily understand the ins and outs of your world. Think about them, think about the criteria, and you're going to shape your entry so that you are giving yourself the best possible chance of winning an award. What you are looking at here, one before please, is a one-pager. Absolutely crucial. Please submit this in JPEG format. And what you're seeing on this one pager is your hard sell. If it is the only thing that the judge sees, make sure they cannot forget what you put on this one pager, right? Basically, what we want to see on this one pager is everything you need to know about this very cool product, service, story, whatever it is. We want to know what it is off the bat. We want to know how you did it. We want to know what tech you used. If there is one thing that the judges walk away from, but remember, it must be your one pager. But then you want to take it a step further because you must also enter your results page. So we can go to the next slide. On the results page, you want to see what the results are, right? But here's how you can think about this sort of a little bit more cleverly. What you want to show on the results page is how these numbers moved your business goal. So your results are going to be very specific to your goal. If it is a brand new product that you started up or a niche category, if you're entering that and it's brand new, your results here is going to be around audience growth or even trust. You want to show that you have grown this product to be something exceptional. In that case, growth is really going to be something that's top of mind and top of your results overview. So what you want to do here, basically what I'm saying is you're going to craft these numbers, or you're going to craft your entry to show how these numbers met your business goal. I loved something that I believe it was Robin, a part of Bookmarks Committee, said the other day. She said, sometimes impressions don't necessarily make an impression. Tell us why these impressions matter. What about these impressions make this an extraordinary result? So don't forget, you're going to give us your one pager with absolutely everything we need to know, but then you're also going to back it up with results. Now we get to the nice to haves, and these certainly are nice to haves. You can also upload other supporting information that helps your award entry to really shine. So here the team have sent some brand launch information. They were picked up across the media, some social media comments around their brand launch. They've shown us some of their creatives, some of their CI, some of their presenters, and some of the actual, swag that they created around this brand. It's always lovely to have supporting material. It's nice to see how this brand has sort of made itself a part of the user's life. But remember, your supporting material is not the most important thing. We want that one pager to really shine. Now, I'm not a creative, I am a publisher, but we have an inside track for you next week, Friday, the 28th, I believe. Well, I know it's the 28th. I'm pretty sure it's Friday, where Alex Goldberg will be leading a masterclass that you don't want to miss. Now that you've kind of have it framed in your mind, what category you want to enter, how you're going to enter it, why it's important for us to enter as publishers in these categories, log on, register, and then log on to Alex's masterclass. And he is literally going to give you the inside track on how to make these entries be most beautiful they can possibly be, so that your entries really, really leave an impression on our judges.